Welcome to My German Ancestors. My name is Katja, and today I'm going to show you how you can use Archion to search for your ancestors. You may have heard of Archion, whether at Rootstick or some other genealogy lecture. It's a database that gives you online access to Protestant church books from Germany. Archion is run by Kirchenbuchportal, a German company that was founded in May 2013 by the Evangelical Protestant Church from Germany and 11 regional Protestant churches. Since then, many congregations have been busy digitizing their historical records, and as of April 2025, over 175,000 books are available online, with more being added every day. If you're thinking about using Archion for your research, here are 3 key things you should know before you jump in. Number 1. Archion is like an exclusive club for Protestant and some Reformed congregations. Catholic church books are more like the rare guests at a party. If you're searching for Catholic records, you'll want to check out Matricula, which specializes in those. And don't worry, I'm planning to create a video on that topic too. If you don't want to miss it, I recommend subscribing to this channel. Number 2. Archion is a subscription-based service. Access to the records requires a paid membership. There are different subscription plans available to fit various research needs, and I'll show you the options as we move through the tutorial. Number 3. The collection is growing. Not all church books in Germany have been digitized yet, so if you don't find records from a specific location right away, don't lose hope. New material is added regularly, so it's worth checking back every few weeks to see if the records you need have become available. With these points in mind, Archion can be an invaluable resource for anyone tracing their German Protestant ancestry. So stick around and I'll show you exactly how to use Archion.
All right, folks, let's dive right in. Oh, by the way, feel free to hit that pause button anytime you need to jot down notes or take a closer look at my screen. Well, first up, let's type in Archion, and you can see that I use it quite often. It's archion.de for Deutschland, Germany. All right, and here's the Archion homepage, and yes, it is in German. So you have 2 options now. You can let Google translate the page for you, or you can go over here on the right side and simply translate the page. So now it's in English. All the information on this homepage is free to use, so let's explore the different features. At the top left, you'll spot location search and all archives. I'll break down those for you in a bit. I highly recommend clicking on Discover Archion. This little gem provides an introduction on how to use Archion and keep you updated on the church records that have just been added. On the right side, you'll find your profile, where all your subscription details will be stored. Right next to it is the forum. This is where all the chat groups can be found. Let's open it. Now, even though we've switched the page to English, the titles of the chat groups are still in German. You'll find groups like General, Location Search, Reading Help, Names, Terms and Abbreviations, along with the various German regions, and also the former Eastern German regions and other countries. For example, if somebody's looking for an ancestor that moved to South Africa, or Australia, or America. Feel free to use the chat if you have specific questions. Just keep in mind that most users are German, so the majority of the chatter will be in German. But don't fret, if you ask a friendly question in English, I'm sure someone will be more than happy to help you out. Or you can always use Google Translate or ChatGPT to bridge the language gap. Now let's go back to the home page. Oh, next to the forum, and switch back to German. Now we're back in English. So next to the forum, you'll see an overview of the FAQs available in English, where you can find answers to some of your questions. And right next to the language button, you'll see a rundown of the different subscription plans. You can choose from options for 1 month, 3 months, or a whole year. Now's a great time to pause the video if you want to read all the information. Just a quick tip. Make sure to purchase your pass only after confirming that the church books you're after is already available on Archion. So search first, then book a pass, and then you can view the material. The prices are in euros and are current as of March 2025, so they might change over time. But keep an eye out for the discount promotions in November and December. Those are the golden opportunities to snag passes at a lower price. Trust me, it's worth checking out. That's what I always do. Alright, let's take a look at the rest of the Archion homepage. If you scroll down, you stumble upon the search field, just waiting for you to enter a place name. This nifty feature corresponds to the location search button at the top, which I'll dive into it more detail shortly. Now, right below that, you'll find the same information that's listed at the top of the page, because who doesn't love a good repeat? You can check out again which church books have recently been added. So you can see they're working almost daily. Lots new books. Let's go back. Up. Back to the homepage. And that's where we were. And you can see at the very bottom you'll find links to forum and the subscription plan again. All right, let's make our way back to the top of the homepage, shall we? Now I'm going to show you how to navigate this treasure trove of information. There are 2 ways to search Archion. You can either search by location or by archive. Let's explore both options and discover what each one is best suited for. Right, let's start by searching by location. To do that, just click on the location search button. Now you'll see a field where you can enter a place name. Think of it as your personal GPS for genealogical adventures. We also have the option to set a date range, but I'm not a fan of that. Why limit ourselves? I believe in casting a wide net and seeing the entire collection available for a location. After all, who knows what hidden gems you might uncover? There's also an extended search function that lets you specify which types of church records you want to use. But guess what? I don't use that either. I'm all about keeping my options open and having the full buffet of records at my fingertip. And you can also check the box for show only digitally available hits, but I skip that too because I want to see everything. And there's also the option for material from Archion users. This feature lets you see if other users have linked any material related to that location. Back to the church books we go. Now let's roll up our sleeves and get some practice. Let's search for my great-grandfather, whom I know was born in October 1885 in Martorf. That's a small village in eastern Westphalia. So let's type in the village name, Martorf. We get an array of place names that sound very similar. Latorf, Maxdorf, Karsdorf, Mardorf. None of them are Martorf. So why isn't it here? Let's ponder 3 possible scenarios. Number 1, maybe the church records from Martorf haven't been digitized yet. Second, maybe I've just pulled the classic case of spelling blunder. No worries, we can easily check that by going to Google Maps, and that's what we will do now. So you can see Hamburg, where I reside, but we are looking for Martorf. And there it is. See little Martorf over here? Seems to be known now as Martorf Kirchheide after merging with the neighboring village. A quick peek at Wikipedia confirms that it is nestled in Westphalia, just where it should be. So now we know I spelled the name correctly. That leaves us with possibility number 3. Maybe Martorf was so small back then that it didn't have its own church, and people had to go to another village for baptisms, weddings, and funerals. If that's the case, our sought-after church records will be listed at that other town's name. But how on earth are we supposed to figure out which of these neighboring villages had the church? There's a veritable smorgasbord of options around Martorf. I mean, this is little Martorf. Was the church in Kirchheide? Or maybe in one of those villages? Fear not, there's a great trick to figuring this out quickly. We're going to tap into the wonders of Meyers Gazetteer. You've probably heard about it at RootsTech. It's like a treasure map for family researchers, guiding us to the information we seek about a place. So let's see what Meyers Gazetteer has to say about Martorf. This website is truly a gem for anyone diving into family history, because it helps you pinpoint those elusive locations. If you're feeling unsure about the exact spelling of a place name, you can use an asterisk as a wildcard. I'll dive deeper into that in another video, but for now, let's just see what treasures await us in Martorf. Here we go. Oh, and we're really lucky. There's only one place in all of Germany with that name. That doesn't happen often. We've got an exact location for the hamlet, and it is indeed nestled in eastern Westphalia. So now let's take a closer look at it. Here we have some general information, but I want to zoom in on 2 key features. Since we're on the hunt for the church, let's first click on ecclesiastical. Aha. Well, it appears there was indeed no church in Martorf. The nearest Protestant church was in Thalle, about 2 miles away. There was also a Protestant church in Hohenhausen, 3 miles away. And the closest Catholic church was in Lemgo, also 3 miles away. Since my great-grandfather was Protestant, it looks like the people of Martorf would have made their way to either Thalle or Hohenhausen. To get a clearer picture of the surrounding, let's now click on the map functions. The red dot marks Martorf, and as we shift the map around, we can spot Thalle and a bit further Hohenhausen. Now, it seems rather unlikely that the good folks of Martorf would have walked all the way through Thalle to reach Hohenhausen for their church services. I think they would have opted for the closer option in Thalle. Now, let's go back over to Archion and see if we can track down the church records for Thalle. That will help us confirm whether our theory is correct. So we're back at Archion, and let's type in Thalle. Let's see what happens. Yeah, there it is. Thalle is showing up, which means we can dive into the church records. Let's do just that. Fingers crossed that these records include information about the people of Martorf. So we take Thalle, search church books, and we are presented with 17 church records. Now, even though our page is set to English, the titles of the church records are unfortunately still in German. This means you can either use Google Translate to get a better understanding of the page in English, or it might be helpful to jot down and familiarize yourself with some key German terms you'll encounter in those records anyway. I'll make sure to include a glossary with those essential terms below the video. Feel free to use it as a handy reference and expand it for your own research needs. The symbols already give us some valuable clues about what's to be expected in that church book. For instance, the cross. What do you think that signifies? Exactly, funerals. The infinity symbol indicates marriages, while the water symbol represents baptism. Since we're looking for a baptism from October 1885, let's navigate to the second page. And we'll select this church book, the first one. Here it is. At the top of the page, you can always see where your current location within the records is. So you can see all archive in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. It's the name of the archive, it's the name of the town, and there says baptism from 1817 to 1894. Now our target year of 1885 should be nestled somewhere in the middle of the book. So let's start searching for it. Somewhere in the middle, maybe here. We're in the year 1883, so we need to scroll down a bit further. Oh, we are in 1885, but we are in July. So we're in September, so maybe the next page. October, here we are. To get a better view of what's on this page, let's click on full screen over here on the right. And while we're at it, let's also turn off thumbnails. So now we can see more. Let's first take a closer look at the columns to understand what kind of information these baptist records provide. So you see birth, 1885, number and birthplace, day of birth, day of baptism, name of the children, name of the parents, with information about their marriage or their birthdays, and the witnesses. So, all right, let's search for him. Here he is, number 74, and it says Martorf. He was indeed born in Martorf on October 8th in the afternoon at 5 o'clock. He was baptized on October 18th in the church. If a child was particularly weak and at risk of dying, they would receive baptism at home instead. His first name was Friedrich August, and Wüstenbecker was his last name. Now looking at his father's name, we see Friedrich Wilhelm, followed by his occupation. He was ein Einlieger. An Einlieger refers to a laborer who rented a place on a farmer's property. This suggests that my ancestor was likely a poor worker who took on any job he could find to make ends meet. The record also indicates that he lives in house number 9 in Martorf. Following that, we have the name of his wife, Justine, Emilie, Sophie, née Bertram. Da here means she was also from Martorf. And whoever wrote this baptism record has given researchers like us a real treat. Because quite unexpectedly, the record states that Friedrich August was the 8th child, and that the 7th child was born on December 29, 1881. And that we get the parents' marriage date, December 13, 1868. So in this single entry, we've not only learned the name and details of the baptized child, but also the names and occupation of the parents, their wedding date, and even the birth date of a sibling. And finally, we see the names of the witnesses, Friedrich Brune and August König, both hailing from the neighboring village of Kirchheide. Now, we might assume that the boy was named after his godparents, Friedrich August, which was indeed a tradition in that region. You can now add a bookmark over here, or a link, to save the page in your profile. And yes, you can also download it. I always recommend not just saving a section, but the entire page. Think of it as your very own treasure of information, so you won't be scratching your head later on because you can't remember the information from the columns. Now on Archion, you can choose your page format. Portrait is for those who like to keep things vertical. And it looks like this. And landscape? Well, that's for when you want to spread out horizontally, especially if you're dealing with a double page spread. Let's just do that too. And it looks like this. And of course, you can also download a snippet. Like this, for example. To make it reading later a breeze. Well, see, now it's easier to read it. And here's the cherry on top. Archion automatically includes all the details about the church record in your download. That's so helpful, because you will be able to find that picture again. At the bottom left of the screen, you'll find options to adjust the page setting. Let's close this one first. So now you can see it better. Want to brighten things up or dim the lights? Go ahead. And you can also rotate the page if you need to. So let's close full screen. And let's go back to the home page. Now, before we dive into the next part, let's take a moment to check in with you all. I understand that this has been a lot of information to absorb. Maybe you're feeling a bit like you've just run a mental marathon. Or perhaps your fingers are tied in knots from all the note-taking. You've done an incredible job focusing. You should be really proud of yourselves for mastering now the art of location search. That's a big win. And remember, you can always revisit this video to practice at your own pace. As we continue our journey, let's explore the second feature Archion offers, the ability to search for records directly in the archives. This method is especially useful if you want to keep an eye not just on one location, but also on the surrounding villages. It's like casting a wider net to catch all the valuable information you may need. Ready to go ahead? Then let's click on the All Archives button. Now, over on the right side, you will see a map of Germany as it looks today. Keep in mind, though, that Germany looked quite different back in the days of your ancestors. I'll explain that in more detail in just a moment. On the left side, you see an overview of all the church archives participating in Archion. Let's scroll down, and you'll notice that they are listed alphabetically by the present-day federal states. Oh, let's do a fun little geography quiz. Try to spot the federal states on the map while I read them out loud. So the first one, I'll make it so you can see the map. So the first one is Baden-Württemberg. Did you find it? Next one is Bayern. That's Bavaria. Then Berlin and Brandenburg. Then the next one is Hessen. Then we have Niedersachsen, which is Lower Saxony. Next one is Nordrhein-Westfalen, followed by Rheinland-Pfalz, and Pfalz means Palatinate. Then we have Sachsen, which is Saxony, and Sachsen-Anhalt. We have Schleswig-Holstein, and the last one on the list is Thüringen, Thuringia. You might notice that, for example, only one archive is listed under Bavaria, while Lower Saxony boasts several of them. Now, don't jump to conclusions. This does not mean that there are fewer records from Bavaria and a lot more from Lower Saxony. It simply reflects that the areas covered by these church archives don't quite match up with our modern federal state boundaries. As I mentioned earlier, Germany has undergone quite transformation over the years, and those historical shifts are still evident in how church districts are divided today. This is why I find it a bit impractical that Archion opts for a modern map. It can be quite confusing for newcomers. Personally, I would have preferred them showcasing the 20 Protestant regional churches in Germany, where you could simply click on the area of interest. Since Archion only provides this information indirectly, let me pull up the map and walk you through it. The Landeskirchen are essential regional Protestant church bodies in Germany, each with its own administration, leadership, and historical root. Think of them as the local chapters of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Germany, and the abbreviation is EKD. It's Evangelische Kirche in Deutschland. If we were to draw a rough comparison to the US, it would be akin to the regional synods of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. So let's navigate this map together and make sense of it all. If you take a closer look at this map, you'll notice that the region covered by the Protestant Church in Bavaria aligns perfectly with the modern federal state of Bavaria. That's because both are rooted in the former Kingdom of Bavaria, which has not changed its borders. However, right next to it, you can see that Baden and Württemberg each have their own regional church. I mean, nowadays it's one state called Baden-Württemberg. But in former times, they used to be two separate states, and the church was still divided. Now, let's shift our focus to Lower Saxony. This is where it all starts to make sense regarding the numerous archives we spotted on Archion earlier. Lower Saxony was formed from several smaller historical states, and you can still see that legacy reflected in the multiple regional churches present in the area. And if you glance further north, you'll see that the three federal states, Schleswig-Holstein, which is here, Hamburg, which is there, and Mecklenburg-Western Pomerania, which is this part, are all part of the Nordkirche, North Church. That's why they're grouped together under Schleswig-Holstein on Archion. I'll make sure to include a link to this map in the video description for your convenience. But feel free to pause the video and snap a picture with your mobile device if that works better for you. I really want to ensure you can utilize this map for your research. It will really help you understand how the archive list on Archion is organized. It's all about making your genealogy journey smoother. Now let's head back to Archion. As I mentioned earlier, you won't find Hamburg or Mecklenburg-Western Pomerania on this archive list. See, Hamburg should be here and Mecklenburg should be here, since they are part of the Nordkirche along with Schleswig-Holstein. And that's why if you click on Hamburg, it will redirect you to Schleswig-Holstein, because that's where the archive of the Nordkirche is. And when you click on the archive, then you suddenly see this reflected in the shape, covering all three states. And if you look through it, then you can find all the church books you're looking for. You see Pommern, you see Hamburg, Mecklenburg, and all kinds of places in Schleswig-Holstein. But of course, you can also have the option to search for a city like Hamburg using the location search. Now you have learned how to do it. Since you've already mastered how to use the location search to find a specific village, it's time to take things up a notch. Let me introduce you to the archive search, a fantastic way to keep an eye on the surrounding area as well. Why? Well, because you never know. Maybe the mother of the baptized child came from a neighboring village, or the groom wasn't actually a local lad. If that's the case, their records might be hiding just a few miles away. With the archive search, you can easily check which church books exist for nearby towns, saving you a lot of time and frustration later on. Since you're already familiar with searching for Martorf, let's use it again as our example. Let's go ahead and click All Archives again, so we can get a full overview of all the archives available. We do remember that Martov is in Westphalia, so let's click on North Rhine-Westphalia. Now we see that there are 3 different archives listed then. Archiv der Evangelischen Kirche im Rheinland, which is here. Westfalen, so it's an archive for Westphalia, so maybe that's the one. And there's another one, a small one, Archiv der Lippischen Landeskirche. Which one do we actually need? Which one of these archives covers Martov? Well, let's head back to Google Maps to double check. Aha! According to this little Wikipedia snippet, Martov is in the district of Lippe. Well, perfect. That gives us exactly the clue we need to pick the right archive. So let's go back and we'll select the archive for Lippe. There you can see the outline of the former Principality of Lippe, where my great-grandfather was born in 1885. A tiny state, well, but clearly big enough to hold our ancestors. On the left side, you can now see a list of all the places in this region. Oh, look, there's Hohenhausen. We saw earlier in Meyers Gazetteer that there was a Protestant church there, remember? And right at the bottom, there it is, Thalle. That's where the people from Martov actually went to church. Let's click on Thalle. Ta-da! We're back at the same church records we looked at earlier. Quick and easy. And if while reading through the church books we suddenly realize, oh, we need new records from a different town, no problem. Just click on the name of the archive over here, and voila, we're back to the full list of all the places in this region that have church records available on Archion. Super handy, right? No need to start your search all over again. You can quickly check if the records you need are right here. Well, let's wrap up this introduction. There are many fascinating discoveries to be made at Archion, such as registers where names are listed alphabetically. But I will show them to you at some other time. You've been really brave, and you can be proud of yourselves for all that you've learned today.
I know. There was a lot of information about Archion, and you probably can't remember everything. But don't worry, you can watch this video multiple times, and you can follow my examples step by step, and you learn it quickly. It's with everything in life. At first it seems difficult, but with a bit of practice, you'll find it's actually quite easy. Oh, and I will include all the links and a glossary below the video. 2 things I would like to remind you of regarding Archion. First, in order to successfully find your ancestor on Archion, it's really important to know exactly where your ancestor came from. And by this I mean a specific town or village, not just Prussia or Bavaria. After all, you can only find the right church book if you know in which parish your ancestor was born or got married. This makes sense, right? And as you've learned today, with the help of Meyers Gazetteer, you can find out whether there was a church in your ancestor's town or where the nearest church was. And number 2, be aware that the records will be in German. And yes, the German script unfortunately looked different back then, and it's not always easy to read. But as with everything in life, practice makes perfect. And there are several resources online that can help you decipher it. I can, for example, recommend the courses and lectures by Katja. Have you ever used Archion? What were your best discoveries? Oh, please let us know in the commentaries below. If you enjoyed my presentation of Archion, please click the like button, as it helps my channel grow and will make it easier for other researchers to find out about their German ancestors. And if you want to know more about the life and traditions of your German ancestors, you're welcome to subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one.